At some point in life, almost everyone asks the same question. Is this really my life? Or is this simply a life I accepted? From the outside, everything may look fine. A job, a routine, relationships, responsibilities. But inside, there is often a quiet discomfort, a feeling that something doesn't belong. Psychology experiments suggest an uncomfortable truth. Most people don't consciously choose their lives. They adapt to them. And the reason why has less to do with laziness and more to do with how the human mind works. One of the most famous psychology experiments on conformity revealed something deeply unsettling. Participants were given a simple visual task. The correct answer was obvious. Yet when everyone else in the room gave the wrong answer, most participants followed the group. They knew the answer was wrong. They felt the tension. They hesitated. And still, they conformed. Not because they were unintelligent, but because being different felt more dangerous than being wrong. The experiment showed that social belonging often overrides personal truth. Standing alone triggers a primal fear, a fear older than logic, older than reason. From an evolutionary perspective, being excluded once meant death. So the brain learned a rule: belong first, question later. Now apply this to real life. Choosing your own path often means disappointing people, family, friends, society. It means risking judgment, misunderstanding, isolation. Following an expected path, on the other hand, feels safe. You are rewarded with approval, with praise, with normality. Psychology doesn't suggest that people follow others because they are weak. It suggests they do so because the human brain is wired to prioritize safety over authenticity. And over time, what begins as adaptation slowly turns into identity. Another experiment revealed a different but equally powerful mechanism. Researchers studied what happens when individuals repeatedly experience a lack of control. At first, participants tried to change their situation. They searched for solutions. They resisted. But after repeated failure, something changed. Even when control was later restored, many no longer tried. They had learned helplessness, not because escape was impossible, but because hope had been conditioned out of them. The experiment showed that once people internalize the belief that their choices don't matter, they stop choosing altogether. In adult life, learned helplessness doesn't look dramatic. It looks quiet. It looks like staying in a job you hate because that's just how it is. It looks like postponing dreams because now isn't the right time. It looks like calling resignation realism. Over time, roles replace identity. Your job becomes who you are. Your routine becomes your personality. Your obligations become your excuse. And repetition creates the illusion of destiny. A life repeated long enough starts to feel inevitable. From a purely analytical perspective, one pattern appears again and again. Humans don't avoid freedom because it's impossible. They avoid it because it's uncertain. Freedom removes excuses. It removes blame. It removes the comfort of inevitability. Choice forces responsibility, and responsibility is heavier than fear. So many people unconsciously trade freedom for predictability, then confuse predictability with meaning. Most people do not live the wrong life. They live an unchosen one, not because they never wanted more, but because wanting requires action, and action requires risk. Psychology experiments don't suggest that humans are incapable of choosing. They suggest that without awareness, the mind will always choose comfort over truth. And over time, comfort becomes a cage that feels familiar enough to call home. So here is the most powerful experiment of all. If no one was watching, if no one had expectations, if no one needed your approval, would you still be living this life, or would you finally choose your own?